Bear with me here, guys. About 2 minutes till we'll be live. I hope you all out there in viewer land are doing good tonight. Okay, let's get this game on the road. Looks like they may have completed all of the beds. Okay, now that should give everybody a bedroom. So that's 196, was it, bedrooms we figured out? That moment when you realize you forgot to change the camera.
Why'd you think I can do this?
Check our announcements real quick. Okay, we're producing scrolls. requires. My wife stopped off on the way from home and picked up a new monitor for me. Apparently she's been listening to my laments about my tile set resolution. So I may be able to play this at a larger personal resolution. I'm going to have to figure out what that means for my streaming, though.
No, I can't do it.
Take a look at our... I think we still need to get our central staircase all the way down to magma level. So let's dive this bad boy all the way down to magma level, which we said was somewhere around 109-ish, so let's stop at about 105. Pull up short so we can take a look around.
It won't work.
You know, in retrospect, I'm doing this wrong. I really should be looking it over here and doing the... we were talking about doing this nature preserve, right? A park. Why don't I do it in the marble layer where, you know, I'm going to want to have all this marble for flux stone anyway, so I can make steel with it, right? And we'll make marble an economic stone, so it's restricted. That way it only gets used for our special jobs. Yeah, I was eyeballing that job on that smelter, and we're out of flux stone. This is all marble around us right here, anyway. This is originally where I was going to do it, because we'd already designated that other area for the tree farm, right? In fact, I went back and even designated it to be, it's now its second layer being cut out. So maybe we'll do more than one, we'll see. But the idea is that I'll excavate out a few layers, maybe here and up there both, and then pour water over them so that they're muddy. And then when we touch the caverns, they'll explode into a growth of cave moss, and eventually mushroom trees.
No, 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 no. No.
And in the meantime, this produces an abundance of stone for our masons and crafts dwarves to use. Might as well get us a nice road going. Okay, let's go cave diving and see if we've started our stairwell. Nope, we're still working on our tree farm, which is fine. That's what I told them to work on last time. I'm jerking them away from their existing priority. Wow, he's gone all in on that one row, hadn't he?
Sir, you can't do that there. Sorry, sir, I can't do it.
And who knows, maybe we'll get bored and make this a giant magma tank at some point. I can't conceive of why. It's not in a good place for a magma tank, but maybe we will. And we'll get rid of those boulders so that we can build our road properly.
No. No. No.
Lots and lots of flux stone available now. Now we'll see some movement on steel.
I can't do that there.
Let's find out what old Valdemar is up to here. Detailing floor. Where at, Valdemar? What are you doing? Oh, you're still working on that visitors complex we set you up for, aren't you? All right, that's all right. All good.
Oh, I can't figure it out. It was almost there. No. No. Dwarf has claimed the workshop.
You shall be my hands.
Yes,
Sir, you can't do that there.
Well, he's not going to become a master trainer or a master trades crafter because he's a possession. So that actually works out because he was in the military. Got to replace that wall segment we were messing with earlier. Oh, that's right. We hadn't finished that part yet. Let's do that. Darn it, I'm paying attention to what I've told them to do, and not the fact that they're not doing anything. There, now somebody's got the job.
No. I said no. Why do you think I can do this?
I did this wrong. I should have unhidden my existing workstation that I put up specifically to make dwarves stand inside the room when they do this. So he'll actually probably stand... Oh, now see, this time I don't want him to stand inside. I wanted to demonstrate, and now he stands inside. There's no rhyme or reason. Least convenient place for a dwarf to stand shall be the place where the dwarf stands.
Why do you think I can do this?
I'm not sure, for the record, that I like referring to these devices as hives. Given that the bees are harvesting their honey and destroying the hive in the process, their closest actual comparison is what's called a skep. It's a big hay bale looking thing, and nobody uses them anymore because they're impossible to monitor for parasites that infest beehives. But they used to make these old wicker things that were what you'd raise bees in, and nobody does anymore. A modern hive, like a Langstroth hive, or even some of the less modern
Sorry,
ones,
I can't do it, sir.
you wouldn't destroy the hive when you gathered the products. You might gather the products and leave the hive smaller than it was in terms of raw honey stockpiled. But you would only kill the hive if you took too much. The goal here wouldn't be to take all the honey. The goal here would be to take just enough to keep the bees going and produce your mead, right? The current method is like harvesting a skep. It's actually destroying the hive every time. This has been your random beekeeping fact.
I can't do that there.
Klenidev wants to have himself named after a waxworker, and I wanted to try and raise bees. Diorite figurine. Oh, that's pretty. And the first segments of the road begin to take shape. Hey, Goblin, welcome back. You know, on second thought, why don't I just do this? I'm not ever intending to actually open this bridge. It's going to stay closed forever. But is there any reason why I can't simply put a bridge over the top of all of this? And as soon as they get that last one down, we'll put another bridge up.
No, I can't do it.
So then the question, of course, for my audience is how many among you are already thinking about your next fortress design? Because as I sit here and I look at the fortress we've already built, of course, my mind immediately begins to wander to what I would have done differently or better. And one of these times I've been meaning to, in the past umpty million years it seems, sit down and determine what a, if you will, an ideal floor layout would be. So that all my floors are adjacent to the things that they feed into wherever possible for major industries. Never quite actually get there. Did they finish all the other ones off too? Yes, they did. Good job, Valdemar. Good job. Oh, no, he left two there. He got this one over here. We didn't finish the one over here yet.
The new season is spring.
Uh-oh, something.
It won't work.
Pretty sure that's got to do with how many forgotten beasts have cacked it in recent years. So let's see here. Ages, known ages. So we have passed, I believe, from the Age of Myth, which is when the number of living powers in Mega Beasts was at least 2/3 of what it was when the world began. We are now less than that number. We have moved into the Age of Legends, where the number of living powers in Mega Beasts is now only at least 1/3 of what it was when the world began. The powers of the world are fading. It's time for them elves to go into the West or something.
Betrayed by the cats.
Stopped him right there, just across the bridge. And he's fleeing, pursued by Dwarf. They're gonna let him go. He's lucky that neither one of them had a crossbow. Speaking of crossbows, did I queue up iron crossbows in my list of things I wanted to make? Let's find out. I do not see iron crossbows in my list. We have an abundance of iron, and crossbows are a wonderful weapon to populate your guys with. So let's give everybody a crossbow. We'll just let that job run. Get steel. Must have only queued the iron weapon jobs as a one-off. Hey, if we're making sphalerite bars, how many do we have? We have 81 zinc bars. Well, we'll just go ahead and crank out about 50 bins out of zinc then, shall we? Problem with using wooden bins is that although they are light and therefore better for transporting goods en masse, the elves won't take them. It's really annoying to want to sell a bin full of goods and have to individually mark them. I am lazy. So, really light metals are few and far between, unfortunately, but zinc is about as close as you're going to get. Aluminum would work if we could procure it in large quantity, but getting aluminum is kind of tough without the ability to make it. We don't have that technological sophistication yet. Well, now, let's be fair. Last time they brought us some good stuff. Not mated pair of giant desert scorpions good, but good. And we've had our dwarves dancing in the round in our taverns. We're not doing it now, though, unfortunately. This is our problem right here. Need so many of these little bastards to grow up and get with the program here. There's no time for make-believe. The wood furnaces need you. I make some rock toys. I didn't mean to if I didn't already. Let's put the glass toys up at the top too. Because remember, if we give the kids glass toys and they survive, then we know that they're at least reasonably dexterous. And, smart enough not to chew on broken toys. Actually curious if we designate this as a room, because it can be a dining room and a zone.
Sir, you can't do that there.
It's either a grand dining room or nope, it's a great dining room. Needs a little more prettying up before it'll be perfect here. Some gold statues or something. Okay, who's coming to visit us? The elves are coming. Your Majesty, the elves wish to join our prosperous kingdom.
I can't do that there.
Is there a good way? I'm going to have to see if there's been a way found or described to automatically migrate low quality and worn goods for trading. Couple oddities with fox and ibex I'll have to watch out for, but that's not the end of the world. And we'll migrate our coins over here as well. The lead will sell off. I don't really have a use for the lead in the fortress. It's heavy. Can't use it for bins. There's nothing really we want to make out of it. Theoretically, we could use it for training statue making or something similar. It seems to me to be just about as easy to turn it into coins and sell it back to the merchants. Keep the silver for something nice.
Yes, I'll do it, but no, it won't work.
I can sell our crappy worn clothing and get 5,000 dwarf bucks out of it. Which is probably more than I need to buy everything in his entire wagon. Like his leopard. And his mule. Bring me more seeds. The fortress demands more seeds. Hey, there's a question for you. I don't think Toadie's implemented that. Hey, welcome aboard, Cupo. I'm assuming that it has not yet been implemented to allow us to farm tree-based crops. I know we can designate them for plant harvesting, if you will. Go out and pick all these apples. But I'm assuming it has not yet been made the case that we can plant our own apple seeds to grow our own apple trees in order to make our own orchard. Yeah, okay. That's a shame. Put that on my wish list. We'll get there. 2076, 3 days after I died, Dwarf Fortress finishes simulating the entire universe as we know it. Well, let's unmark all this stuff, since you aren't going to offer me good, fair value for all my goodies. There, haul that stuff away, and yeah, we'll give you these things here as an offering. Yeah, you can take our used clothing. No, really, offering, all yours. Aw, you won't take that stuff. You'll buy it, but you won't take it for free. That's hilarious. Nice. These items are too fine. We can't take them as a gift, but please allow us to pay you for them. Open up the chest full of clothing, and it's sweat-stained tunics and beer-stained robes. There you go, dude. A massive profit of 815 off that one donkey cage that we're going to buy there. And I'm kind of regretting moving all that stuff now because it doesn't matter. We don't need any of this because, well, they don't have anything of value for us, unfortunately. So we'll just move all that stuff away and let them haul it off. Let's go look at stockpiles for a moment. What's filling up here? Okay, where's the container thing that I'm looking for? Barrels is obvious. Pots, there they are. Lots and lots of them. Do we have... Many are empty. Okay. So that means... this was never set to take barrels, and needs to be because it's backing up our stockpiles elsewhere. Our main seed stockpile, I want the seeds to be in barrels. I want the outer seed stockpile to collect the loose seeds and feed those barrels.
I can't do that there.
And we'll make another pass through Auto Butcher, making sure the only things that are on the list are things that I want. Mules are automatically butchered. Now, leopards. Leopards are an interesting question. Do I let the leopard stick around in the hopes that maybe I can get another leopard? I gotta see if leopards are trainable. War trainable leopards, or even hunting leopards, would be kind of nice just as a showpiece, you know? Hang on a second. Leopard. I don't keep track of which animals can be and cannot be trained. I'm fairly certain that leopards have been trained at least somewhere in the real world at some point. Tropical desert biomes can receive hunting and war training. I don't care about them being the meanderers that they are because I plan to station them and use them as pasture defense, not escorts. So that's awesome. Now they just need to bring me another one. No, at some point that's conceivable I might turn on that DF hack plugin that makes the elves go berserk if I cut too many trees, but in a heavily forested area like this, not only would it be crazy because you'd frankly get swarmed by the trees and eaten, but the typical player, the typical new player especially, is likely to be depending on wood as a primary fuel source. If you don't embark somewhere there's coal, It's very hard to get enough coal to actually sustain yourself off that. Traders only bring you a handful, and you can't make them bring more than that handful. There's something I'd love to be able to put on the wish list. Allow us to request quantities. You could. The problem with using too many trained animals that you let loose, like the leopards we're talking about, will keep their numbers fairly small and keep the majority of them in cages, is that all those animals moving around is still things pathfinding. If it's pathfinding on the map, it's using up your frame rate effectively, and Dwarf Fortress has so many things going on that we try to keep that to a minimum so that we can have the maximum number of creatures available to us. Oh, I'm going to set up a training area and a kennels and all that. I just haven't got it yet. Haven't needed to. Don't worry. We've got room.
No, 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 no. No! It was black.
Okay, so we rebuilt that. That's what I wanted to see if I ever did. Okay. Let's... my kingdom for a way to disable the job cancellation on damp stone. Because all the coal I want to mine out is in the damp stone. Or it will be. It has to be. And oh yeah, guys, while you're digging out the rest of everything else on the planet, please do take the time to mine out these little sections here I've designated, please. Did we cancel our bridges? Oh, no, I'm not not on the right floor. That's why. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Once those are built, our bees are effectively adjacent to an outdoor area. So let's look at that for a moment. This fortification is outside. So our hives, which are adjacent to it, are all adjacent to outside terrain. Every one of them. The bridge on the upper level, once constructed, keeps anything from flying into our base from above. And the fortifications keep anything from getting into it on the same level. That is, in fact, a bridge roof. I wanted to do hives. I don't like the way that fortifications are open on the roof. I don't believe anything can fly in through there. Arrows aside. But I'd rather not find out the hard way that Toadies implemented something when I wasn't looking. So we'll cover it all with retracting bridges that we'll never actually retract. And we'll have an indoor beekeeping area then. We'll throw some jugs up there. Set up some processing for the off-casting materials from our bee industry. But first, we've got to kind of get hives into all of these. Still ought to be called a skep, though. Now, this may take forever and a day. Now that I think about it, we've got architecture on at least one guy. Good. Our mechanic is still architecting away. Can't fulfill this many dwarves this fast.
Now I need to think of something else to torment you with.
I don't think I could ask to have. Well, I know what we're going to end up having to do, though. Okay, so remember, this is going to be where our forges and smelters will be. This level will be filled with magma and unable for us to be using it. So we'll go down one more than that. This is going to be stockpile. This is going to be stockpile. Then we get down here. Now let's dig out a big room. Did our miners finish the shaft? Yes, it looks like they may have. Not quite. They're getting there. They're almost there. It's a long way down. They may not actually be able to get down there and still have food and drink to be able to finish the job and get back. They may actually be running out of food and drink and having to be coming back up to eat and drink before they finish down there. Okay, hang on a second. Cleaning. Okay. I'll bite. And the dwarves are bringing out the iron to make our road. Slowly, our architect continues to put in his ridges. Apparently I missed a boulder there that I didn't notice was overlapping one of our roads.
Some migrants have arrived.
Good.
They've got new shoes. Get those shoes, boys.
Put on bone bolts. Still no wax worker.
Sir, you can't do that there.
So here's the question now. I have created a library. It does not need to have bookcases. In fact, in this instance, bookcases are counterproductive because we don't want written works stored in the public library. We want the written works stored in our private vault.
It won't work.
So we'll lose the bookcases, pull out the written word. People can still come to our library. We just don't have anything they can actually check out. Well, the eventual goal is that we can turn over the low quality ones, right? So we've made 5 copies of every book. So every time the traders roll in, we sell off the crummy versions. Copies continue to be made. Eventually, we have high quality copies. we keep the best. The mass market paperbacks, we export.
It won't work. Sir, I hate saying no to you, but no.
Well, I expect sooner or later Toady will patch it out so that we'll have to let visitors leave with their prepared works. But the goal here is that if they come to our fortress and they make something, we automatically get the original. We'll make copies, we'll distribute them, free publication for everybody, but the original becomes ours.
Yes, I'll do it, but no, it won't work.
Nice big public open library space, writing tables, chairs, writing material, provided gratis.
Something.
Aldemar's going at a pretty good clip now. He's engraving that stuff pretty quick now.
No.
These are just smoothings he's doing. He's not actually engraving anything yet.
No, I can't do it.
Okay, let's take a quick peek at our entry here. I think we were... Ooh. That's got to get fixed.
Sir, I hate saying no to you, but no.
Can't do that there.
Slowly the road grows. They suspended that? No, they didn't do it. Okay, so we've still got to get a couple boulders ground down here. Valdemar, of course, is unfortunately busy for the foreseeable future, engraving everything under the sun. Momentary overcrowding, perhaps. Okay, so we need to fix this problem down here. Now we set this door to open, and we need to go through before we allow them in here and make sure we forbid any fertilized eggs. The fertilized eggs can still be producing chicks, and so they can turn over. The others can be harvested. We don't care. They're only good for food anyway. And now, sooner or later, someone's going to come along and start jamming a bunch of these these pea chicks into cages. So here's somebody here now, harvesting them one at a time. Unfortunately, some of them will escape as they slip out through the door when it's opened. And alas, they'll have to be rounded up and fetched. Now, if you're worried about the labor spent fetching them and bringing them back, I believe it's possible to assign them all to a pasture that takes this whole space. Like dogs, they'll kind of migrate themselves to be in that pasture normally, which means they're not trying to force their way out. Problem is that pasture space also occupies the same space as all your nest boxes, and so if you're using auto nest box, it'll interfere a little bit. I don't want to cook anything down that I can brew or plant. But they're calling it potato wine, aren't they? But we can't distill potato. Oh, that's right. That's our empty bag stockpile, isn't it? Okay. Go on. Ask me what I'm building. I dare you. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the only thing that could possibly keep all of our dwarves working on a trade skill and anything approaching reasonable sanity without micromanaging ourselves into an early grave. I give you Etsy. Okay, maybe that was pretty bad. I do believe if my wife had been in the room, I probably would have gotten the side eye for that one. And we'll assign every single person in the fortress to stonecrafting. All of you folks who've done a little bit of it recently, we can turn you off. You've had a chance to do some. Let somebody else have a turn. I see you, military guys. Give them 1 month off out of 3, and look what they do. They turn around and go all masterwork on you.
No.
Now the hope is we will get them to haul some of these items to a destination stockpile, which I have yet to build. And in the process, they will fall in love with that ring or amulet or two-piece brooch that they found on Dwarven Etsy, and they'll claim it for their own, at which point that satisfies a whole bunch of needs for them. The need to make things, the need to improve their skill, the need to claim, items for luxury purposes, all at once. Toady is forcing dwarves to become consumers.
No.
And the unfulfilled need is starting to go down. It was 436, it's now 432. Let this run for a bit longer, pull out anybody who's still got high skill. So our stone crafters here are proper stone crafters. I can pull them out for a moment. Maybe I won't be able to take it off anybody. We'll see. Oh, duh. It's like, why can't... Oh, I see. Just make it a long trek with a heavy boulder. Well, you laugh, man. I mean, you can make that joke about, Mark's not saying anything here, but previously my dwarves would have lived in pretty much the utopian communistic ideal, right? Anybody could have claimed any dwarven craft they wanted. Everybody lived in the same quality bedroom, random lots drawn for everything. At the same time, the kitchen is cranking out dwarven masterpieces. Every piece of furniture you touch has been, only built by the, highest quality craftsmen. Everything right down to your shoe polish is catered to. Valdemar's still slacking off, hadn't got to our boulders yet. Nah, I'm just funning. He's down there probably messing around with something we told him to engrave somewhere, I'm sure. Oh yes, this I did tell him to engrave as well, didn't I? The library needs to be pretty.
It won't work.
But I mean, at some point you've given the limits on Dwarf Fortress by virtue of processor power, right? At some point you've exhausted the real space you need to actually occupy to build a fortress. This is probably much bigger than it really has to be if we were doing this totally vertically.
I can't do that there.
At that point, the only thing you can really do with your fortress vis-a-vis new things is simply upgrade the quality of existing furniture. Place these green glass boxes with gold coffers, inlaid with gems. Speaking of, let's look at trap components a moment. 51 green glass discs. This is an insufficient number. Bring me green glass discs. And let's get to work on the track stops. real sure I designated those last couple correctly, so I'm just going to remove them and redo the ones I need to. Now what should happen here, we hope, is that... Oh, and I got a couple I want to build there too. Once we get some minecarts full of magma, we will assign them to be delivered to these track stops where they will immediately chuck their magma into the hole. No artifact doors yet. All of our doors are made out of green glass, though. Patio doors for everyone.
There's a new baby. Quick, get him a bottle of ale.
Downside to this is that we'll get lots and lots of stone crafting special moves. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. Now let's see. These guys are carpenters. They don't need to also be stone crafters. Surely we're making clothing there. He must have taken his stuff off, right? Okay, definitely some stuff laying around that can be picked up and, worn, so not sure why he's not going for the clothing, but okay. Maybe they're feeling like a nudist.
Oh, I won't do it. It won't work. Oh, I can't figure it out. It was almost there.
Pitiful dwarf, I will do it myself. You shall be my hands.
Yes, I should be your hands.
I claim this workshop in the name of invention!
Have at it there, buddy boy. Have at it.
Sorry, sir, I can't do it.
Now, I've been meaning to ask you guys. I'm curious if anybody would actually mind if I did streaming for other things along the way. I intend to do Dwarf Fortress every day, but one of the laments that my wife has uttered is that because of bedtimes and stream durations, it's difficult to get any her and I time to play. I told her I'd think about maybe streaming 7 Days to Die or one of the games that we're playing in co-op. We have tin ore, lots and lots of tin ore. There we go. Dwarves sitting in the private library with writing materials. Tasty. Okay, our guy is working on his construction, and the dwarven Etsy continues to crank out middling skill artifacts of no particular import.
Sir, I hate saying no to you, but no. No, 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 no. No!
Sir, you can't do that there.
No, I can't do it.
Oh, that's an excellent question. Let me look here. So, mood-wise, Sicarius is at a stress level of -7. Means he's just on the shy side of good. He's doing all right.
Yes, I'll do it, but no, it won't.
Drive shaft up there is down at negative 1.4k, which is still far improved over where he was.
And he's still a puny little.
So yeah, our several of our dwarves are actually doing all right. Happiness-wise, let's see. So our least happy dwarf is no longer drive shaft. The stress level of about 5k. It's MoMA's here. Let's see. Unable to pray. I need to check to see if we have temples for everybody still. Frustration after being able to acquire something. Lack of decent meals. Away from friends. Unable to practice martial art. So we need to get everybody into squads as well. Give them all swords. That's what we can do. We can give all our... Sad boy, that's you, mate. Drive shaft. Negative 1.4k. You're actually doing better than Sicarius at the moment. Like I said, we got you in the military and you are A-OK. On a happiness scale here, I think we still got it sorted by happiness ascending. So you're about here, about halfway down the list here. But the reality is all our dwarves. Most of our dwarves are doing pretty good. Why don't I see Sicarius' name here? 00000. These must be the folks that just arrived. There's Sicarius at -7. Right here. And then drive shaft is here. -1.4. No, like I said, mate, it's the militia squad thing. That did it for you. That on-off training, once it finally caught you in rotation, psh, done. You were set. I'm debating what we're going to do for our militia at large, because basically all of our dwarves are expected in dwarven society, because of the way it's set up. They're all supposed to respect martial talent, which means they're all supposed to practice it. So I figure we give them a bunch of training swords and tell them to train 1 month out of 3. Put them in the reserves, if you will. We don't ever expect our swordsmen to amount to anything. They're dwarves. They're axemen and hammermen. They're not swordsmen. But if some of them take a liking to it, then maybe we put them in a proper squad and give them dwarven weapons and let them go, right? And we just assign everybody to the reserves. For right now, I don't have a schedule for them, so let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and we'll let him train. Yeah, tell him he's actually doing just a hair worse than you are now. That's all right. We got him in the reserves. He'll do fine. Give everybody a little chance to practice their punching and fighting so that our dwarven brawls in the... Now, the downside of this approach we're adopting, where we're having everybody do some stone crafting, is that we need to go back and make sure we have, or excuse me, everybody in the militia, is that we need to make sure that everybody has backups for their role. So, for example, what do we do if all four of our miners are in the militia and training one day? If I've got stuff I want mined, it's not getting done for that entire month because they're on rotation. So, we need to make sure we have backups for folks.
I hate saying no to you. but
And
no.
we'll burn a bunch of those up as well. Get our soon-to-be archer squad producing their own bolts, we hope. Oh, look at there. We're working on those boulders, and once they're gone, I can move on to finishing up this road. Now, if you don't like the use of the stockpiles like this, of course, you can build dirt road, which will require a little dwarven labor.
No. I said no.
And we'll run wooden buckets to the top of the list. We have several carpenters. At least one of them should be available to do buckets. The green hell continues to advance once more on the stockpile boundary now. Notice these trees are cropping up directly adjacent to where the boundary is already. This is part of the reason why the elven insistence on it being a raw number of trees has never quite made sense. In an area like this, a little logging is good to keep the forest fires at bay.
No way.
Not even kidding. As thickly packed as this is, the only reason it doesn't spark off is because it's so cold all the time. Cold and snowy. Okay, guild hall, fishery workers. Really? And stone crafters. Okay. Here's how we're going to do that. First, we're going to go to our food production area, which is where our fishery workers are going to be doing all their stuff anyway. And we're going to designate a big area in this whole space. Watch this. We already designated that one space as a guild, remember? Oh, we can't go quite that large. Okay, so we'll adjust it slightly here. Fishery worker hall. Okay. Bang. Now we need to rename the Seed of Sun so that it's something for Dar we can remember, because it's nothing related to fish in any way at that point. So hang on. a Stonecrafters Guild. Okay. So we can do that. Let's go down here to where there's... so we're going to have a bunch of... oh yeah, maybe that's a little big. Let's go about half that instead. We'll put some tables up around the outside and call it a guild hall. Smooth it down with all of our new engravers that we just hired in, who now need tasks to perform. Oh, that reminds me, our miners. See, they're busy doing something else now, aren't they? Yes, they are. Okay, this has got to stop momentarily because I have to have that other thing now. And we'll come back and get it in a moment. But that's got to stop for a moment because I need a little more attention on the other stuff. Check to make sure I didn't do the same thing over here in this other tree farm we were working on, remember? Nope, left it alone. We're good there. There it is. We'll turn planning mode on. So we don't care what they're made out of necessarily, and we'll just put some tables along both walls. And then we'll put in some chairs to do likewise. And we'll tell our horde of engravers to descend upon the space. It was a stoneworker's hall, wasn't it? Stone crafter. Stone crafter. And I should have checked because it tells you how many members there are right here.
Why do you think I can do this?
Mayor still needs decent quarters. Well, that'll fix that problem. And now you are a guild hall. Let's rename you. Close enough. Must ask for buckets at some point. We didn't notice it. All right, let's see where we're at now. All of those petitions have been settled.
It sounds good, but no, it won't work.
I do believe this is going to be the last time we will trade in that depot. Hey, we're encrusting finished goods with glass. Nice. All that raw glass we've been producing, right? Those just, you know, raw glass gems. We then turn around and cut glass gems, then turn around and put them into our green glass goblets and our rock goblets to improve their value. So we're basically using sand, which we take from nowhere, and producing value with it. It's good stuff. That ought to do for now.
Sorry, I can't do it, sir.
And they're still filtering in. Oh, damn, son. They're still unloading. It's going to take them a day to finish unloading at the rate they're going. That's good. Means we have lots of stuff to buy. We hope, we hope. It literally has been a dwarven day now. A dwarven day has ticked over and they are not finished. grab the sand, the seeds, the empty bags, because why not? Just saves us having to make them later. And then we will buy probably all the cloth and leather they can give us. Because I think we're probably going to have huge value in that. In fact, let's stop here for a moment. I just realized we haven't. Oh, no, there it is. It's all here. Good. Let's run through and mark all of our stuff, and we're about $4 grand short. So let's go back and see what we can get rid of that's high value. I think there was a couple of instruments that were super high value. I was just going to buy so we had one on hand, but I will temporarily get rid of these bars and blocks, or bars and gems. And let's see, what else do we have rid of previously? We'll untrade the cloth. There's a couple more instruments I could have gotten rid of. There we go. And we'll let that first batch get moved around, and they've got other stuff to bring to us. So we'll wait for the rest to arrive and finish trading some more. Now, one thing that Tony does have pretty gosh darn correct. Honeybees stored on a level above where people are walking, you'd never even know they were there. Because they will typically come out, go up about 6 feet in the air, and they're above your head. Gone. So right near the hive, they're not looking for forage like within the 10 feet around the hive. Somebody's already scouted that dead days and days and days ago.
No.
So these bees would never bother the folks down below.
Sorry, I can't do it, sir.
You have to spray yourself down with sugar water just to attract them.
Excellent. Hopefully someone brought a cat. I love cats. Delicious. No. I said no.
I was like, holy shit, he's giving us $83,000 worth of value for our crap? No, maybe not quite so much. Okay, so now we can come back and pick up all these bars and the gems, the cut gems. And let's see, plenty of profit still to go back and pick up the pets. maybe the cheap instruments. Cloth and leather. Got the seeds before. But cloth and leather are almost always going to be useful in your fortress unless you are literally drowning in them. You will need cloth to make equipment for your dwarves until time immemorial because they will constantly be wearing out the old and need to replace it. Likewise, for us, leather in our military equipment means that in order to equip all of our dwarves with cloaks and hoods, we need to be able to give all of our dwarves leather items. That's a lot of leather before we're done. In addition, these bags, we don't want to go quite that far. I just realized I'm monologuing and we've got too much value in trade goods on their side of the table, so I need to drop some of the expensive cloth. If they're, yeah, see, there's some here that's like 400, where the rest is like 200. So if I drop a couple of these more expensive ones, our dollar will go farther, our dwarf buck will go farther, if you will. You can, there is no reason not to. In fact, if you know what you're browsing for and exactly what it's named, the search is great for picking through it. If I wanted to get just cloth, for example, and I hit Q and I go cloth, the only thing I'm going to see in this list are things with the word cloth. The problem is that I then have to go through and search each one of those. If I want to then do cloth space, I can limit it to just the bins. Now I can go through and say, oh, well, on the bins I've selected, they're all the cheap bins because here's the expensive ones I skipped over in the middle. And I can jump down and go, here's 240 more. Let's see, trader profit's still a little high, so let's grab these here. Doop, doop, doo. Right down the line. Like that. Same thing for leather. I can simply go remove this and go, well, I want all the leather space bin, because the leather items have have the word leather in them as well. And then here's the easy way to grab all the leather that they're selling. Pull that back out. Now I've purchased all their leather. That's all done. Now, the trader profit's a little low, so I got to give back some because I'm going a little extravagant here. Because when you filter it, it tells you only what's inside the filter. And so we've spent a little more than we should have here. There's some cloth that's a little on the high side. I think we're just going to have to give back some of the meat. That's a shame. There's our instrument and some meat. Is that going to get us about right, you think? Yeah, he'll take that. Okay. And we'll let him another wave of stuff arrive. You do have to remember, before you can trade, you have to cancel your search. If you have a search filter active, you cannot trade until it's done. Got to get rid of it. It goes for a trade filter on either side. You have to be looking at, if you will, a vanilla display before it will allow you to make use of it in that fashion. Oh, what qualifies as crafts? Let's see. Oh, it's not furniture I want. It's finished goods. And we will just allow them to be made of anything. We don't care. The hell with it. We don't care. This is a big stockpile. Screw it. Let them all stockpile it here. This will be where we store all those things. And now when we haul that stuff that we don't sell, or the rings that we're not hauling to the trade caravan, the ones we don't get rid of, when we haul all that stuff downstairs and throw it in the stockpile, hauling that stuff to a stockpile is when dwarves have a chance to claim it. To give our dwarves a chance to be extravagant, because they'll be all bling. Hey, no problem. Taurus said, if there's anything you can think of that you want to know, any questions that come to mind, feel free to ask. All right, so let's look at our trade again here. And if we sold everything we have, we're going to do 6 grand in value. So let's see. We'll go ahead and buy all your cheap paper. We'll buy your books because we don't have any and we need them. The library must grow. I guess we can get all their cheese while we're at it, right? Let's see, there's yarn, there's some fruit here. It's worth paying attention to the types of plant fiber thread. Kenaf, Ramie, hemp. If you can get those seeds or those materials and plant them, you can grow your own. Which is why we're now producing hemp clothing. And since it's a surface crop, it'll grow 4 seasons out of the year, whereas pigtails only grow 2. I don't like to admit it, but this is a little weird actually, because you wouldn't expect surface crops in the real world to grow 4 seasons out of the year, yet these do. Fairly universally, if not universally. You can pick up all this food and just stockpile it away for later. That's good. I'll snag his anvils too, because we're going to need some in a minute, and I don't want to bother making my own, so we'll take his 5 anvils. Take my stuff. Hey, he took my stuff. And we've got another wave of stuff still coming yet, so let's let that filter in. Now, it's true, I'm trading at fairly high profits. For him, I mean, we don't care. The reality is that we could, if we wanted to, drown ourselves in production. Oop, what do we want here? Did we get another mayor? We did, in fact, get a replacement mayor, and this one wants large gems. You bastard. You are begging to be a magmanaut. Replace mayor. We're going back to the old guy. Sorry, guys. We regret to inform you, new boss, same as the old boss. Feel free to re-elect him. I'll appoint otherwise. The voice of the fortress has spoken. is that their trade warning? We're getting ready to leave. As mandated. Oh no, it's the Bard warning. Almost as bad. Okay, so we're producing bone bolts, bone bolts. Okay. And another $5,000 in value. Let's see what we got here. Unfortunately, when you say categories, there is one problem there. You literally have to search for the stuff that's in their name. I could search for crossbow, for example, or I could search for bronze, and either one would work. It depends on what I'm looking for. I would search crossbow if I was looking for weapons, and I would search bronze if I was looking for things to melt down. Which, as it happens, I am. So, what's cheap? Well, the puzzle box is cheap, or maybe one of the kids will pick it up. The flail, toy boat, yay. Instrument. It'll probably end up in the tavern before we can do anything with it, but who cares? Remember, at this point, we're literally just chucking stuff that are... This is literally on the right, the dwarven version of Etsy. Everybody who can hold a needle and thread or put together 2 beads has managed to produce some sort of stone dwarven craft over here of varying quality from minimum to maximum, all of which we are simply mass dumping onto the market in exchange for items that might otherwise be hugely valuable but are simply drowned out by the sheer torrent of our ability to mass produce. Now, I can't, unfortunately, just search for metals directly. I have to search for, like, each individual metal. And there's... Actually, we get the cages here because they're made of copper, so that's alright. We'll pick them up, too, because I want the meat anyway. You can't search for, like, animals unless you search for each individual name of each individual animal, which is a real pain. So, for example, we picked up those first 2 because their cage was made of copper, but this reindeer bull in the middle is in a nickel cage, so we missed him. Whoops. A little annoying. What are you going to do? Let's see. Water skin, water skin, water skin. Fortunately, now we've started to kind of clutter up our own inventory readout over here, if you will. And the other problem you run into is all these prepared meats are prepared bits. But this bit's sweetbread, that bit is meat, and this bit is intestines. It's all over the board. I love the realism of this. I don't particularly enjoy having to deal with it in the interface to this degree. A sell max button would be nice, but it wouldn't cover all the different varieties of things you're going to have to sell. Let's see. This trader's going to make out like a bandit on this last trade, I think, here. Let's go back up and do instruments, because we kind of skipped over those. They're expensive. They'll soak a lot of value here. It's got the silver great axe. Woohoo. Okay, so I've been eyeballing that iron Anoth there, because it's like $4,000, but we can't afford it on our current profit margin. So let's grab that guy. We'll grab this puzzle box. really expensive rope. You can have it. That's right. There we go. He's good. We'll get rid of anything further that we had pending. So the dwarves will haul it off to our new, which turns out wasn't all that much. So now we're going to do another run of crafts. And we'll tell our trader we no longer need him at our depot. Oops, trade, no longer required. And he'll go back doing what he was doing, and he'll be in good shape. Now, it's 10 o'clock, ladies and gentlemen, which is the time I was going to kind of knock off. I'm sure the wife is going to want to play something else, since she can't really participate in Dwarf Fortress in a multiplayer sense. So before I go, are there any questions? Anybody got something they wanted to see about how the fortress is running? Alright, now, before you all take off on me, don't run yet. We'll see who's out there in Dwarf Fortress streaming land that we might be able to raid. Hold on just a second. I'm seeing a Valinor out there who's streaming. Let's see if I can't get him rated here.
It won't work.